and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be making these adorable crochet popsicles. I'm going to be using these popsicles as coasters, or you could also hang them up as a banner and make a cute little birthday banner or summer party banner. This would be great for party favors for any summer parties you're going to have. You have your guests use them as coasters and they can take them home as little party favors, or you can just keep them for yourself. There's no shame in that. I am going to be doing a full tutorial in this video, but again, like all my other patterns, I will have a free version of this pattern on my blog if you'd like to follow along. I will also have a printable PDF available in my Etsy shop if you'd rather have a written pattern that you can print out. Or, of course, you can just follow along with this video with me. All of the materials that I have used in this tutorial will be listed in the description box below. And if you have any questions during the duration of this video, please feel free to leave those down in the comments below, or go ahead and send me a DM on any of my social media channels and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so these are going to be the general materials you're going to need to complete each of the 3 popsicles. First and foremost is going to be a crochet hook. I used a 4.5 millimeter for all 3 of the popsicles. You're going to need a pair of scissors or thread snippers, a yarn needle, and some popsicle sticks. These are just some mini ones that I found at Walmart. I believe it's a pack of 50. Please feel free to use the full-size popsicle sticks if that's all you can find. It really doesn't matter which size you use. These are all I could find. If I can find a link for these, I will go ahead and link those down in the description box below. I'll also link one for the full-size popsicle sticks as well if you feel more comfortable using those for the stability. But either way, I'll go ahead and link everything that I use in this video in the description down below for you guys. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the first popsicle. Okay, so the first popsicle we're going to go through is this cute little 3-tone popsicle. This is going to be a great pattern for any scrap yarn you have lying around, because this popsicle requires pretty fairly little yardage of yarn. So if you have any scrap yarn you've been trying to get rid of for a while, this is a great pattern to use it on. These are the colors that I chose for my popsicle. It's just a cute little blue, green, yellow moment. I'm actually really excited to see what they look like together. You're also going to need a crochet hook. Again, we're going to be using a 4.5 millimeter, a yarn needle, scissors, and of course a popsicle stick that we are going to attach to all 3 popsicles at the end. I will put the exact yardage in yarn that I used for all the popsicles in the description box below. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so this popsicle is going to be made from the bottom up. So for this bottom color, I chose this gorgeous kind of teal color that I'm going to use for the bottom. So I'm going to be going from a darker shade to a lighter shade, if you were curious as to how my brain was working as far as color choices. But to get started, you're just going to take your crochet hook, make a slip knot, and we're going to chain 14. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then working back along the foundation chain. If you follow one of my tutorials before, you know that I like to work in this back hump here. It just creates a nice edge to the bottom of the pattern or the project. If you want to work it directly into the foundation chain, that's totally fine. It really isn't going to matter because we're going to slip stitch around the entire popsicle anyways to create a nice border. So if you'd rather just work into the chain as normal, please feel free to do so. I am, again, going to be working in this back hump here. And you're going to be working in that second chain from the hook and in each chain across. And you should have 13 single crochet at the end of this row. Okay, this is what you should have after finishing row 1. Again, this is going to be 13 single crochet. For row 2, we're just going to chain 1 in turn. And we're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way down the row. And again, you should have 13 single crochet at the end of this row. That's what you should have for row 2. Now row 3 through row 9 is just going to be a repeat of row 2. You're just going to be single crocheting in each stitch across. And after completing row 9, we're going to attach our new color yarn and then start working the second color after that. So I'm going to go ahead and finish till row 9 and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm a few stitches away from finishing row 9. So I'm going to work into this last stitch, but I'm not going to complete that single crochet. I'm just going to tie on the new color yarn just because it's easy and fast to do. And I'm just going to weave in my ends at the end anyways. So I just snipped off that first color, leaving a tail long enough for me to be able to weave in later. And then I'm just going to tie on my next color, which is this pretty green. I don't know if I tied that on tight enough. We'll see. Oh, that's fine. So I just tied on that new color, and then I'm going to chain 1 and turn and start working row 10. Row 10 through, let me double check my notes. Row 10 through row 18 is going to be exactly the same as row 3 through 9. We're just going to be working single crochets in each stitch across until we reach row 18. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be sure to put all of the pattern details on the screen for you so you're able to pause and work at your own pace. And again, I'm just going to work rows 10 through row 18, just single crochet in each stitch across. You should have 13 stitches in each row. So I'm going to go ahead and work those, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm finishing up the last row of the second color, and I just wanted to show you how I change colors for the wrong side rows, because I can't really tie on because the tail will end up on the wrong side. So to change colors for this wrong side row, I'm just going to leave about a 2-inch tail out and then crochet over the tail, finishing out this row. And then once I reach this last stitch here, I'm just going to crochet over that color, bring this second color back, finish the stitch with the third color, chain 1, and then working the third color here. And then for the third color, we're going to work 3 rows until we start to make our decreases to make the popsicle shape. So for rows 19, 20, and 21, we're just going to be working that exact same pattern, working a single crochet in each stitch across. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back to start the decreases. Okay, so I just finished up row 21. Now we're going to go ahead and start working the decrease rounds. To get started with those, for row 22, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to single crochet 2 together in these first 2 stitches here. We're going to work 9 single crochet into the next 9 stitches. So a single crochet in the next 9 stitches. And then for the last 2 stitches of this row, we're going to single crochet 2 together. So you should have 11 stitches for row 22. Row 23, we're going to chain 1 and turn. And for row 23 and 24, we're just going to be single crocheting in each stitch across. Again, you should have 11 single crochet in each stitch for row 23 and 24. All right, just finished row 24. Row 25, we're going to continue on with those decrease rows. For row 25, we're going to single crochet 2 together in these first 2 stitches. We're going to place a single crochet in the next 7 stitches. In the last 2 stitches of the row, we're going to do single crochet 2 together. And for row 25, you should have 9 single crochet across. For row 26, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Again, we're going to single crochet 2 together in these first 2 stitches. We're going to place 1 single crochet into the next 5 stitches. And then finishing out this row, we're going to do single crochet 2 together. You should have 7 single crochet for row 26. And for the final row, we're going to chain 1 and turn. For row 27, we're going to single crochet 2 together, place 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then to finish out this row, we're going to do single crochet 2 together. And now you kind of have this nice popsicle shape, but it is a little boxy up here and around certain areas too. So to round off those edges, I decided to put a slip stitch border around the popsicle, and it just gives it a really nice finish. Anyways, it's a little bit more work, but I promise it's totally worth it. It gives a really nice sleek appearance to it. So to do that, you're going to not fasten off after row 27. You're going to chain 1, and then you're going to begin slip stitching down the side of the popsicle. In each row you completed before. It doesn't have to be too perfect. It just needs to be a little clean and sleek as you work. So again, just slip stitching across like so. And then before you reach this row here, before you reach the second color, this is where I'm going to go ahead and tie on my second color, or color B, to keep the color pattern as we're slip stitching across. So I'm going to insert my stitch into that final row of this last color, pull up a loop, and then slip stitch. So that way this last stitch here is going to have a yellow loop instead of a green loop. And then when you begin this next row of green, the colors are going to line up. So again, we're just going to be slip stitching across until you reach this next color change. And again, before you slip stitch into this last green color, I'm going to tie on the blue, finish off that slip stitch just so that the colors match up and there's no like bleeding into the colors. So I'm going to go ahead and finish slip stitching around. If you want to finish off before me, you're more than welcome to. All I'm going to do is slip stitch to this first slip stitch I made at the top left corner here, fasten off, and then just start weaving in my ends. So if you want to go ahead and do that, you're more than welcome to. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and finish slip stitching, fasten off, and weave in my ends. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, this is what you should have when you finish slip stitching around the popsicle. And I went ahead and weaved in my ends and kind of trimmed up the ties a little bit because it is going to be hidden by a piece of stiff felt, which I totally forgot to mention in the beginning. I am so sorry. But yes, I did put a piece of stiff felt on the back of them because I'm going to be using them as coasters. So I want to have a nice level bottom to be able to hold drinks. And it also gives the popsicle a more definitive shape because right now it kind of looks a little wonky. But again, it's totally fine. We're going to go ahead and reshape once we glue it to a felt piece, which I'm going to do at the end when all 3 of the popsicles are finished. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with popsicle number 2. Okay, moving on to popsicle number 2, we're going to be making the double popsicle. For this one, you're just going to need 2 different color yarns. I suggest using a lighter color yarn for the outside and a darker one for the inside to kind of mimic the depressions in the double popsicles, if you know what I'm talking about. These are my favorite. I love the, what do they call it? The outshine ones, all the fruity flavors. They are my favorite. So of course I had to make a popsicle designed after that. But again, you're just going to need 2 different color yarns. All the yarn that I use is going to be listed down below. So let me go ahead and move all of my materials so we can get started. If I can find the end. All right, so getting started, we're going to start with the lighter color for the outside. We're going to begin by chaining, or doing a slip knot, and then chaining 14. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then like I mentioned previously, I'm going to be working in the back hump of these chains. Please feel free to work into the chain any way that you like. But we are going to place a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. I can find it here. And in each chain across, and you should have 13 single crochet after this row. Okay, this is what you should have for row number 1. Row number 2, we are going to chain 1 and turn. For rows 2 through 3, we're just going to be working 1 single crochet in each stitch across. So you should have 13 single crochet after rows 2 and 3. And then when we come back for row 4, this is when we're going to start our color changes. Okay, so I'm coming up on the end of row 3, and I'm going to go ahead and start my color change here. Even though we aren't technically color changing until 2 stitches from row 4, but I just want to go ahead and attach my second color now just so I don't have to worry about it. So to do that, I am just going to leave that last stitch in row 3 incomplete and then just tie on my new color here. And then once I'm entirely finished with the popsicle, I'll go ahead and weave it in, but I'm going to finish this stitch using the lighter color because that is what is called for in the pattern. So for row 4, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to be working 2 single crochet in this lighter color. And then before I work the second stitch here, let me go ahead and zoom you guys in so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to overlap this darker color here and just crochet over it, just in preparation for that color change. It's just easier for me to do that. I'm going to be floating the yarn throughout this project just because it's easier. If you follow me or if you've followed any of my patterns before, you know that I prefer the cut and tie method. But for this particular pattern, because the color changes are fairly close together, as you can see here, I'm just going to go ahead and float them just because it's easier. So after finishing the second stitch of the 4th row, we're going to finish that second stitch with the darker color and then work 2 single crochet in this darker color. Again, just repeating what I did for the color change previously, overlapping that lighter color over the back here, crocheting over it, and then picking it up. Just like that. And it's super easy to do. I actually have just got into floating yarn, and I find it so much easier than just cutting and tying and doing just the normal tapestry crochet where we're working over the non-working yarn, because it doesn't bulk up as much, and I also don't have to cut and tie every single time I have to do a color change. With these different types of projects or different types of projects that you use, it's always great to try to figure out what color changing method works best for you. So I use different color changes for each project, just whatever is the most convenient and works well for that. All right, moving on, we're going to do 5 single crochet in this lighter color. 2, 3, 4, and again with that 5th stitch, I'm just going to float that darker color, crochet over it, finish that 5th stitch with the darker color, work 2 single crochet in this darker color here, finishing it off with the lighter, and then finishing row 4 with 2 single crochet in this lighter color. Just like that. And you can see there how the yarn just floats. And again, I'm really not worried about what the back looks like, because just like the previous popsicle that we finished, this one is also going to be finished with a piece of felt on the back. All right, moving on to row 5, we are going to chain 1 and turn. Get some more yarn here. All right, for row 5, we're going to do 1 single crochet in this lighter color. Going to drop that lighter color, pick up the darker, finish that stitch off. Then we're going to work 4 single crochet in this darker color, and I'm going to go ahead and tighten that lighter color there. So do 1, 2, 3, and just like I color changed previously, I'm just going to lay that lighter color in the back like so, crochet over it, drop the darker, pick up the lighter, and finish that stitch. So 4 single crochet in this darker color, 3 in this lighter color, 2, floating that darker color back here, finishing that 3rd stitch with the darker, 4 single crochet in this darker color, 2, 2, 3. Some yarn, move this out of the way. There we go. And then finishing that 4th stitch, picking up the lighter color, and finishing row 5 with 1 single crochet in the lighter color. Now this repeat for row 5 is going to be repeated from row 5 to row, let me see, got my cheat sheet here, row 5 to row 20. So it's going to be the exact same color change pattern from row 5 to row 19. So you're going to do 1 single crochet in the lighter color, 4 dark, 3 light, 4 dark, and 1 white or light. And I'm going to go ahead and leave that pattern up on the screen for you so you're able to pause and work at your own pace. I'm going to go ahead and work rows 6 through 20 off camera, and we'll be right back for row 21. Okay, so I just finished the repeats from row 5 through 20. Now moving on to row 21, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to work 2 single crochet in this light blue, and then 2 single crochet in this darker blue, if I can get in there, we go, and 5 single crochet in this lighter color, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 single crochet in this darker blue, alright, and then finishing out row 21 with 2 single crochet in this light blue color. Alright, and that is going to be all for the repeats. Now we are going to start to, move this out of the way, start to do our decreases to create the popsicle shape. So because we don't need this darker blue anymore, I'm going to go ahead and just snip that off, and then we will weave in our ends after we are finished. So just working with our lighter color and working row 22, we are going to chain 1 and turn. We are going to single crochet 2 together, single crochet into the next 9 stitches, right, and then finishing row 22 with single crochet 2 together. You should have 11 stitches for row 22. Row 23, we're going to chain 1 and turn. For rows 23 and 24, we're just going to be working single crochets in each stitch across. Again, you should have 11 single crochets for rows 23 and 24. Right, now moving on to row 25, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We are going to single crochet 2 together in these first 2 stitches, 7 single crochet across, right, and single crochet 2 together in these last 2 stitches, and you should have 9 single crochet for row 25. Row 26, chain 1 and turn. Going to single crochet 2 together these first 2 stitches, single crochet in the next 5 stitches, all right, and finishing out this row with single crochet 2 together, and you should have 7 single crochet for row 26. Moving on to the last row of the pattern, we are going to single crochet 2 together in these first 2 stitches, single crochet in the next 3 stitches, All right, and then to finish up row 27, we're going to single crochet 2 together. And as you can see, it has a nice round shape, but to make it a little bit more sleek and finished looking, I'm going to do a slip stitch border around the entire popsicle. So to do that, you're not going to fasten off after row 27. You're going to chain 1, slip stitch into the same stitch as your last single crochet of the row, and then just slip stitch in each row around the popsicle. Just like that. So you're going to slip stitch all the way around, and then once you get back up here to your first slip stitch, you're just going to slip stitch into the first slip stitch that you did for around the popsicle, and you're just going to fasten off and weave in your ends. And I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll be right back when I'm done. Okay, and this is what you should have after you finish slip stitching around the popsicle. So you can see from the back here, you can see all of my color changes from floating the yarn. Again, you don't need to worry about what the back looks like because we're going to go ahead and glue it down to a piece of stiff felt once we're finished with all the popsicles. Okay, now that we're finished with popsicle number 2, let's go ahead and move on to popsicle number 3. Okay, and for our third and final popsicle, we're going to be doing a dipped sprinkle popsicle. I might be a little bit biased, but this one is my favorite one. I think it is so cute. I think my favorite popsicle or ice cream in general is something that's dipped, preferably chocolate, which is why I'm going to be doing a chocolate dipped popsicle for this tutorial. Nothing against strawberry. I just love me some chocolate. So we're going to go ahead and do that. For this popsicle, you're going to need your dipped color, whether it be strawberry, chocolate, if you want to do a vanilla dipped chocolate, you know, just whichever you would want to do. But you're going to need a base color, a dipped color, and then some scrap yarn for sprinkles. You do not have to add sprinkles. I chose to do that because you got to hit them with a little razzle dazzle once in a while. So this is what you're going to need to complete the third and final popsicle. I'm going to go ahead and clean up my space, and I'll be right back to get started. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to go ahead and take my base color, which is going to be this cream color. We're going to do a slip knot, and we're going to chain 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, and like the two previous popsicles before, I'm going to be working in this back hump of the chain. Again, you can work in any part of the chain that you are comfortable with, but we are going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and in each chain across, you should have 13 single crochet at the end of this row. And this is what you should have for row 1. You should have 13 single crochet across. Moving on to row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and single crochet in each stitch across. You should have 13 single crochet at the end of this row. And this is going to be a repeat. You're going to be working single crochets in each stitch across for rows 2 through 6. So I'm going to go ahead and finish row 2 and work my way through row 6. Again, it's just going to be 13 single crochet across for rows 2 through 6. All right, I'm just about finished with row 6, but I did want to go ahead and show you how I attach the new color, because our first color change is going to be the very first stitch of row 7. So I'm just going to lay my color change color right across the row I have been working on, and then I'm just going to single crochet across this color for a few stitches just to make sure it's secured in place. And then once we get to the last stitch of row 6, instead of finishing that stitch with this cream color, I'm going to go ahead and finish it with this brown color, because again, our first stitch on row 7 is going to be a color change. So with that being said, now that we have finished row 6, I'm going to chain 1, turn. Our first stitch of row 7 is going to be 1 single crochet in our darker color, or color B. I'm going to finish off this stitch with the cream, and then I'm going to work 12 single crochet in this cream color. And that will be for row 7. All right, so now that we're finished with row 7, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 8 is going to be 11 single crochet in this cream color. And like I did in previous popsicles, before I finish this stitch before the next color change, I'm going to fold it over and crochet over it just so it's easier for me to pick it up for the color change. I'm going to finish that stitch off in the brown, and then the last 2 stitches of the row will be in this dark brown color. And that will be for row 8. Row 9, we're going to chain 1 turn. We're going to do 2 single crochet in this brown color. Switch to the cream. And we're going to do 4 single crochet in this cream color. 2, 3. And then this 4th stitch, I'm going to go ahead and bring that darker color over so I can color change. Finish that stitch off in brown. 1 single crochet in this brown color. I'm going to switch that back, and then we're going to finish it off with 6 single crochet in this cream color. All right, moving on to row 10, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to work 5 single crochet in this cream color. 3, 4, 5. Switch to this brown. All right, we're going to work 3 single crochet in this brown shade, and bringing that cream over, looking over it, switching to the cream. Work 3 single crochet in this cream color. Finish off with the brown, and then we're going to finish row 10 with 2 in brown. All right, moving on to row 11, chain 1 and turn. We're going to do 3 single crochet in this brown color. 2 and 3. Finish off with the cream. Working 2 single crochet in this cream color. Switching to brown. Working 3 single crochet in this brown shade. All right, and then finishing row 11 off with 5 single crochet in this cream color. All right, and this is what you should have so far for rows 1 through 11. Row 12, we're going to chain 1, turn. We're going to do 4 single crochet in this cream color. 2, 3, and 4. Going to finish off with this brown. And we're going to work, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in this brown shade. So we're going to finish the row off with this brown shade. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, moving on to row 13. We're going to chain 1 turn, and this is going to be the exact same color pattern as the row before. So we're going to do 9 single crochet in this brown shade. finishing that off with the cream color, and then we're going to finish off with 4 single crochet in this cream color. And before I work the last stitch, the next stitch for row 14, this first stitch here is going to be brown, so I'm going to go ahead and carry this brown shade and kind of catch it in this last stitch here, so we don't have to worry about the color change coming for row 14. So instead of finishing this last stitch on row 13 with the cream color, we're going to go ahead and switch to the brown, because again, this first stitch for row 14 is going to be a brown. So with that being said, let's go ahead and chain 1, turn. We'll do this first stitch in brown. We're going to switch back to the cream. We're going to do 2 single crochet in cream. I'm going to switch back to the brown. And then we're going to finish this row off with brown. If I can find where that stitch is, there we go. All right, and that's what you should have for row 14. Working row 15, we're going to chain 1 and turn. And from this point forward, we're just going to be working with this brown shade. So rows 15 through 21, we're just going to be single crocheting in each stitch across with this brown shade. So you should have 13 single crochet for rows 15 through 21. And then after row 21, we're going to go ahead and start the decrease to get this nice rounded popsicle shape. So I'm going to go ahead and finish those rounds off camera. I'm going to leave the instructions for you on the screen so you're able to pause and work at your own pace, and then I will come back and we'll start working row 22. All right, so I just finished up row 21. Now we're going to go ahead and start working the decrease rounds to get this nice popsicle shape. So to do that, we're going to chain 1 and turn. For row 22, we're going to single crochet 2 together. These first 2 stitches, we're going to single crochet in the next 9 stitches. All right, in these last 2 stitches, we're going to single crochet 2 together, and you should have 11 stitches for row 22. Row 23, we're going to chain 1 and turn. For rows 23 and 24, we're just going to be single crocheting in each stitch across, and you should have 11 stitches for rows 23 and 24. Right, and continuing with the decrease rounds or rows, we're going to chain 1 and turn. For row 25, we're going to single crochet 2 together, single crochet in the next 7 stitches. Right, and the last 2 stitches, we're going to single crochet 2 together. Right, and for row 25, you should have 9 stitches across. For row 26, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to single crochet 2 together, single crochet in the next 5 stitches. Right, and then the last 2 stitches, we're going to single crochet 2 together. For row 26, you should have 7 single crochet across. And for the last row, we're going to chain 1 and turn. This is for row 27. We're going to single crochet 2 together, single crocheting in the next 3 stitches. And then the last 2 stitches, we're going to single crochet 2 together. All right, and there you go. It's got a little bit of a popsicle shape, but it's a little bit square up here. So what I'm going to do, like I did for each of the other popsicles, is we're going to do a slip stitch border, changing colors to match the color pattern of the popsicles. So once I get here, I'll change colors to the cream, slip stitch in cream, then switch back to the brown, and then slip stitch in brown, and end in this first slip stitch here. So to get started, you're just going to chain 1, slip stitch into this same stitch that you placed your last single crochet, and then each one of the rows going down. And again, this is just to give it a nice sleek appearance to it, and just does give it a little bit of stability, especially if you're going to be using it for a coaster. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. Again, switching colors once I get to the cream color, just to maintain that cohesiveness of the pattern. And then once you reach the first slip stitch that you made, you're just going to go ahead and slip stitch right back into it and fasten off, and then just go in and weave in your ends. Okay, now that the base of the popsicle is done, now it's time to add some sprinkles. Again, this is totally optional if you choose not to use sprinkles, but I, again, wanted to add a little razzle dazzle to my popsicle. So I'm just going to follow the same sprinkle design that I did for the strawberry dipped popsicle that I made, but please feel free to get creative with yours. I'm going to go show head. Oh my gosh, I'm going to tongue twister. I'm going to go ahead and show head. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did the sprinkles. Okay, and this is super simple because we are hiding the back and attaching a piece of felt to the back. I'm really not concerned with how it looks back there. So I'm just going to tie on the sprinkles. So I'm just going to pick random pieces here, pass my yarn needle through, and leave just a few inches back there. Snip off a little bit more, and then pass that yarn needle through once more to create a little bitty sprinkle. And then I just remove the yarn needle, come back here, just loosely double knot it because you don't want it to get too tight in the front to where you can't see it, and then just boop, give it a snip just like that. And I'm going to continue doing that, again following the same color pattern that I did for the strawberry one. So I'm going to go ahead and take some yellow. Oops, I dropped my yarn needle. I got Jill's hair everywhere. I swear I cannot get it under control. If anybody has any suggestions for how to control dog shedding, please feel free to leave it down in the comments, because I'm at my wit's end. It's like, it's in my hair, it's in my mouth, it's on my yarn, it's everywhere. I love her to bits and pieces, but her hair is so annoying. All right, again, I'm just attaching it to the yarn needle, passing it through to the back, and then loosely and knotting it off back here, and then just giving it a trim just like that. And you got cute little sprinkles, and I love it. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this up off camera, and then we're going to come back and start talking about how we finish these little popsicles with the felt on the back and, of course, the popsicle stick. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and I'll be right back with y'all. All right, now that we have all the popsicle pieces done, now it's time to construct the popsicles. The first thing we're going to do is attach the popsicle sticks to the popsicles, and then after that we're going to attach that to a piece of stiff felt. I'm going to do that with just a hot glue gun. Please feel free to use any kind of adhesive that you would like. I just find hot glue to be durable and easy to work with, mostly. And it's just efficient. You just have to wait for that hot glue gun to heat up, and then you can use it. So I'm going to go ahead and get my workspace together, and then we're going to go ahead and start constructing these together. Okay, so to get started on finishing these popsicle coasters, we are going to glue on our popsicle sticks. To do this, all I have to do is line up the popsicle stick in the center of the popsicle, and then I like to leave out about 1.5 inches. You can leave as much or as little as you want, depending on what kind of durability you'd like it to have, because again, I am using the small popsicle sticks, not the larger ones. So I'm going to go ahead and do about 1.5 inches-ish, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pencil or a pen and just mark where I want the popsicle to fall on the stick. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take some hot glue. Again, you can use any adhesive that you would like. And I'm just going to place that hot glue right where, ooh, a little too much, right on that half of the popsicle stick that's going to be attached to the popsicle. Then I'm just going to gently try to get it as centered as possible on the popsicle stick and just kind of hold it to set, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat this for the other 2 popsicle sticks, and then we will go ahead and start gluing on the felt backing. Okay, now that we have the popsicle sticks attached, now it's time to glue them onto the felt backing. And all I have to do that is just flip the popsicle stick over, or not the popsicle stick, the popsicle over, and kind of outline the popsicle stick in the inside with hot glue, and then just attach it to the felt backing. So let's hope I have enough hot glue to do just that, because I have an ancient hot glue gun and it likes to kind of not work a lot. All right, and then before it cools, I'm just going to find a nice place along the edge here and just scooch it down to where it matches up, and then just kind of mold it to the shape that I want it. Just like that. So cute. And then just gotta poke some of these ends in. This is the only time where I actually regret not weaving in my ends and just instead of just tying them off where they kind of stick out like that. So I'm a work smarter, not harder kind of person. As most millennials are, I'm sure. All right, and then when that's just about cooled, I just take a pair of fabric scissors and just trace around the popsicle as close to the edge as you can without cutting the yarn, because you don't want to risk it unraveling or fraying, since they are going to be used as drink coasters or as a banner like I had mentioned before. Just kind of trimming around, just like that, and voila, so cute. And it also gives it a nice stiff base, so if you are going to be using it as a drink coaster, then you don't have to worry about it bending. And it's cute. It's such a cute little party favor also, if you want to have your guests use them as coasters and they can take it home with them. I just think it is so cute. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish off the rest of the popsicles by gluing them onto my fabric piece, and then we're going to wrap it all up. All right, all the popsicles are done, and I am so obsessed with how they came out. They're so, so cute, and I cannot wait to do something with them. I'm not quite sure yet. I think I might make them into a banner, because why not? I'm not hosting any parties anytime soon, but if you are, you should definitely consider making these as party favors, because I think it'd be super duper cute. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you so much for following along with me, and I hope you learned something fun and cool today. Again, all of the yarn descriptions and yardage will be listed down in the description box below. I'm going to have a free pattern on my blog. You can get the paid printable version. It's going to be a full written pattern in my Etsy shop if you'd rather do that instead of following along with this video. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave those down in the comments below or reach out to me via any of my social media channels, and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.